All right, I think I'm live. Think I'm live. All right, let's do some stuff. Let's do some painting. Hey, what's going on? I'm gonna do some environment shots. Studies, at least. Hey, what's going on? 1:40 in the morning there, jeez. You guys are here nice and late. Impromptu? Yeah, I just felt like doing it because needed a break from doing what I was doing. How am I? I'm doing good. Greetings from Chile. Hey, thanks. I'm always using the hard round brush. I don't really change it up too much. Song is so good. Yeah, it's Enter Shikari. I don't know about the rest of the album yet, but they're a sick band. How did I learn Photoshop? I knew this kid from Kenya when I was in middle school, and he actually taught me how to use Photoshop. I never learned how to paint with Photoshop back then, but I just learned the ins and outs of like the tools and stuff. We were mostly doing like graphic design and whatnot. I think I want to skip this song. Is there a market for funny drawings? I'd imagine so. Alright. This song's good. How brush are you? I'm so brush. You don't even understand. I realized I didn't really explain what I'm doing. I just kind of came in listening to music and whistling. I'm just doing some environment studies, but I'm doing them of some Doom environments. Just want to work on the colors and painting up the scene. Sci-fi themed, yeah. It's the 2016 Doom. Kind of off topic, but how should I learn anatomy? If I had to make a suggestion, I'd say learn how to pose the mannequin first. Like if you look at Loomis's book, he talks a lot about posing that mannequin. I think that's the most important part. Just gonna move this over. There we go. There's not that much to know to do art. There's definitely a lot of stuff to learn. Sounds a little bit like Dunning-Kruger. But I take it your statement was sarcasm. Yeah, I'll hear the song again. I like the song so much. I'll hear it again. I like it too much. Let's do that again. How long did it take you to get a hang of rhythm and gesture? A very long time. I feel like it took me longer than it should have. This is The Dreamer's Hotel by Ender Shikari. It's just a great track. Big fan of it. It's got everything I like in it. It's got a nice catchy ass chorus, but it's got this like heavier bit to it. It's even got a breakdown and it's like kind of a poppy song. I love it. This band is incredibly unique. It's great. Got to make sure your minor axis makes sense. Am I using any stabilizers? No. I mean, I have some emotional stabilizers that I take every morning. That's not true. Sorry. I'm not joking about mental health. I'm very sorry. There's no mental health jokes here. Very sorry. Alright, now this is a little too whatchamacallit. They do some stuff that's a little weird for me. Alright, let's hear it though. That's what happens when you do weird stuff, though. Sometimes you make songs that people don't like. Do I drink energetics? Do you mean energy drinks? No, I do drink coffee though. The OG energy drink. And I drink it for all day, every day, for every meal. Alright, this is not heavy enough for me. It's good though. But we need something heavier. This is not how this works. There we go. I'm using reference at the moment. I'm doing steadies. Should you develop a coffee addiction to be a good artist? I'm pretty sure they're related, so I think you probably need to. Yeah, right now I'm doing steadies, so it's all reference stuff. It's always gotta go back and forth, you know? Gotta make sure you're filling that noggin with information. Do I actively avoid fantasy art? Well, I've had people ask me the opposite question many times, so if I avoid doing sci-fi, it's more of just whatever I'm in the mood to be doing at the particular time. I pretty much always wanted to really focus on sci-fi. I was a little afraid for a while though, but now I'm embracing the fear. I'm just gonna go head first and just do it. No bullshit. No excuses. Time to just go for it, so. Soft songs, Right to Death, and Dust. Yes, exactly. Gotta do what you gotta do. I need my energy. I need my heavy. Kind of looks like Doom inspired. It's not only Doom inspired, it is literally from Doom. It is so Doom inspired that it couldn't even be any more like Doom because it's an environment from the game. And much in Doom fashion, we're listening to some metal as well. In case you didn't know, that game is like... The early ones especially were just built on metal, which is, makes me excited. You know who we haven't listened to? I haven't listened to Meshuggah in a while. Retracted my message, but it was too late. James had already crushed my ego. I don't know what I did. I'm sorry to hear that though. That was a band called End, END. How much grayscale painting did you do, and how much did it actually help? I did do a lot of it, but I found I kind of just had to just go for color stuff. But usually when I'm thinking in my brain, I'm thinking about the grayscale more than the colors themselves. So let's get some messiness here. Let's do a little bit of that. Am I a Lamb of God fan? Yeah, definitely. It's one of my first concerts that I ever saw. You've run out of tables to climb around. Sorry to hear that. So one of the things I'm going to do with the environment is simplify the palette down a little bit. Does that help? Had help to draw? Why do you always wear it? I just like beanies, dude. I don't know. I was just being a beanie guy. Definitely doesn't help to draw. It doesn't. I don't find it that it hurts to draw though. And why do I always wear it? Cause beanies are the shit. They just are. Can't help it. Gotta have good music, man. Oh wait, I don't want to flip. Any game soundtrack that I recommend? No, not that I can think of offhand, but movie soundtrack. One of my favorites of all time is the soundtrack from There Will Be Blood. That is a really good movie and soundtrack. Do I like Mastodon? Yeah, I actually I did roadie work for them one time, and it was ridiculous. Your teacher thinks you're not paying attention. It's probably because you're watching this live stream. How do I feel between paper and tablet? Please. How do I feel about that? Like the difference between them? I think they're definitely different. I think paper's more intuitive, obviously, but tablet's got its advantages, so you got to use it from time to time. And then you learn to love it. I like using the tablet a lot. Beanies for life, exactly. Just read the title. Did YouTube really ban you because you used talked about a certain thing? Yeah, they I put COVID in the title and they got really upset about that. So don't put any COVIDs in the titles. Let's hear. What are we gonna listen to now? Let's listen to not Colas. Here we go. A little bit of Future Breed Machine. Did I ever do watercolor painting? Yes, I have done it. I would argue that I'm not very good at it. But I have done it. Glad we have another Meshuggah fan. Modern day James, perspective is a bitch Can you confirm? I can confirm. It's not easy. You are my favorite drawer on YouTube. Very authentic. Congrats, brother. Thanks, man. Try to keep it as real as possible. I actually started the channel sort of not in rebellion, but I just remember looking at all the channels that were like very overproduced and just being like, what the fuck is this? It's just not my thing. $7 a.m. listening to metal. Good. That's how it should be. Hard surfaces with paint. Is there another part to that? Is that a question or is that just a statement? I don't know if there was more to that. Hey, Peru. Apple slices with peanut butter. Are you asking me if I enjoy them? Because the answer to that is, yeah, they're awesome. It's hard not to enjoy that, though. I like this format of asking questions, though, where you don't provide any context and just say things. Celery with peanut butter, can't say I like that. But I also can't say I've tried it, so I don't know if it's good or not. Is that sweats or sweets? Because that's not how you spell sweets. I'm gonna turn this a little bit. Wait, I made a 3/4 sketch that you use some kind of, as a layout, do you use that same kind of method to transfer it? I'm a little bit confused, but it might just be that I'm not reading your question properly. How do these dudes write this? I'm convinced that they all sit in a room with power tools, and then they record it, and then they listen to what weird polyrhythms get made up by the power tools. I'm pretty sure that's what they do. It's gotta be right. You heard it on the internet, so it's gotta be right. You want to buy a Xiaomi tablet? Can you recommend me? I don't know what that is, so I can't recommend anything. What's the best tool for digital drawing? The brush tool. Just Keep it simple. You don't have to do anything fancy. Your hands, there you go. That's definitely the best choice. Am I going to be at Lightbox? No, I'm not going to be there. I don't think I'm going to be there for a little while, partially because Corona. I kind of intend to move back to California in a couple of years anyway, so at that point, I'll probably go more consistently. But I don't really have any reason to go at the moment. I'm not really much of a festival guy or whatever you call it, convention guy anyway, so it's not my thing. In fact, I might even go... I have angry teacher eyebrows. That is very true. But yeah, I might even go as far to say that I hate conventions, so not my jam, not my cup of tea. But I'll go if I have some stuff to present or whatever. Static X using a Masked Singer and playing live shows? That sounds cool. Not very conventional. That's fair. Nice pun. I'm gonna be honest, I just find them so boring. It's just not my thing. Jesse, I think you stole that joke. Somebody made that same joke. But I appreciate it. Appreciate the puns. The lime looks like fog. Yeah, it kind of makes sense because that's sort of what I'm going for, because the light is gathering dust, or it's like reflecting some of the dust. Well, you added un. Oh, I got you. I got you. Let's go to... Have you seen ghosts? Be serious. I have one experience. I could talk about it in just a second. Let me get my bearings in this painting and then I'll tell the story. I'm glad me and Steven have helped your calmness. I feel pretty high anxiety generally, so I'm glad somehow I've helped you be calm. I should take my own advice though. Talk about it. You talking about my ghost experience? I'll talk about it in a second. Do I listen to Chronosphere? I actually don't listen to them, but I think I just heard them for the first time the other day and enjoyed it. And I may have even If I'm not mistaken, I think I marked it down as saved in my Spotify playlist, or in one of my Spotify playlists, so I'll definitely check them out. Always appreciate the metal recommendations, thank you. Always welcome. Even if it's not my, ends up not being my cup of tea, I always like hearing new music anyway. Alright, what else we gotta do here? Let's get that graphic shape on the floor. Love whistling Meshuggah. Music scares you, not gonna lie. That's the point. We're painting doom. It's a scary situation. Demons are coming from hell. It's not supposed to be a happy time. Ghost story. Okay, so it's not really that crazy. It's just this one time my girlfriend and I were house or apartment sitting for this one of her coworkers, and in the middle of the night, somehow a large bookshelf, or it's like a bookcase sort of thing, gets thrust across the room and just flies all the way across the room, and all the stuff that's inside just scatters everywhere. And we have no idea why that happened, how it happened, and my girlfriend woke up in like a panic moments before it happened and just like flew across the room. It's really crazy. And I know I definitely had to clean up everything. So, it definitely happened. And nothing pushed it. It's true, I was the bookcase. Oh no. You saw a ghost on your ceiling? What was he doing there? Dun, 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 dun. Tell us a story that might be a lie, and we gotta guess if it is. All right, I can think of one. After I saw The Amazing Spider-Man, I went on a climbing spree, and the movie inspired me and my friends to become Spider-Man. So we spent the next couple of months just climbing buildings because we thought that was a fun and great hobby to have, very safe. And one day I was climbing a building here in New York City, and my hand touched something that was really kind of weird and slimy and a little bit uncomfortable. I was confused. I was like, what is this? What is my hand touching? Felt like an alien. Turns out, wasn't an alien, wasn't a ghost. It was a pigeon nest full of pigeon feces. And upon grabbing that, a bunch of pigeons flew out, hit me in the face, and I fell off of the building. And I fell about 1.5 stories, which is pretty high. But I landed almost in a subway. Well, you can decide if this is true now or if it's false. And then I'll continue making stuff up. Someone says, true. I'm not into this screamo metal. I prefer guitar and clear voice. Totally true. Wow, thank you for sharing. Yeah, I feel like I came up with that too fast for it to be a lie. It is definitely, definitely true. But yeah, that was probably the closest I've ever been to dying. I was very stupid. I fell off that building and smashed my face. Landed on a subway bar, like a railing. Almost destroyed my body, but I survived. I'm here to tell the tale. That's why you don't do stupid stuff. Truth is stranger than fiction, I guess. Yeah, sometimes. I just like dangerous shit. And then the PCP wore off. No. But they're, the whiskey wore off after a while, though. When you watch Free Solo too many times. Yeah, fair. I do still climb now, though. I go to the rock climbing gym, though. Which is my favorite Spider-Man? It's got to be Spider-Verse, honestly. It's so good. It's hard not to like that as an artist, though. Do I like spicy food? Oh yeah, I love spicy food. I like running and jumping. That's cool. I just like how simple that is. You're like, yeah, I just like to run and then I jump and then I run again. Freakiest, most dark and disturbing secret. Oh my god, it wouldn't really be much of a secret then, would it? I'm sure there's some. Oops. I thought of one thing. It's not really a secret though. If you want insane sci-fi, just watch Jupiter Ascending. Oh, okay, cool. Definitely want to check that out. Hmm. How do you think if random person listens to Meshuggah for more than 100 hours, he eventually will like it? Maybe not, because I think you need some sort of like... I think you need to get metal, like you have to kind of work your way into metal in general, because it is so abrasive at first. You would give your left testicle to obtain 1/10 of my skill? That is no, don't do that. You can just practice and keep your testicles. There's also people that are much better than me that you should give your testicles to obtain their level of skill. So you should try to do that instead. That's also true. Why the left as opposed to the right one? That does beg an important question. What do you have against the left one, and why don't you want it? You ever think it feels unappreciated? I think we can group this all together in just a second. Is 20 years too young to start drawing? I usually get that question phrased in the opposite way, so I like the way you phrased it. Do you practice drawing with your left hand? No, I think that's just sort of a showboaty thing. Not that that's bad. It's like more of an entertainment value thing. Like I know Peter Hahn does that. It just reminds me of, there's always those guitarists that would like play with the opposite hand, or they play with both hands, and it's more of just like a showmanship kind of thing than it is really a technique that's necessary. Oh, you meant it in the opposite way. Is 20 years too old to start drawing? I don't think so. I started when I was 24. I started really hitting the grindstone, so I don't think so. If it is, then it's too old. Then I should just give up. Let's get some soft round in this bitch. Do you have any courses that you can buy from me? I do have the Gumroad stuff. It's not really a course though. It's not like a full course. I was gonna put out a perspective course, like a whole thing. Truth be told, I got very bored when I was making it, so I didn't finish making it. Sometimes boredom comes into play here, and it's just like, nope, really don't feel like drawing boxes again for hours and hours on end. Do I still draw on paper? Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Bring on in. Like the calming music in the background. Always always how it goes here. That's how we do it over at the Modern Day James channel. Any idea why ellipse guides are insanely expensive? Nope. I don't like to use those though, to be honest. Sorry that you spent all that money on it. I think, especially, I mean, it really depends on what you're doing. If you're doing like really technical drawing, like architecture drawings, they make sense. I think after a while, yeah, after a while, you don't really need them. Any tips on painting backgrounds? Okay, it's not asked very often, but you gotta give me a little bit more to go on than just tips, because I don't really have just like vague tips. Is there something specifically that is troubling you? Like, oh, I feel like my brush strokes don't make sense, or I feel like I don't know. Because I could give you really vague answers to things, and that doesn't really, probably is not gonna help you all that much. And by backgrounds, do you literally mean backgrounds behind characters, or do you mean environments like I'm doing here? Because I often hear people call environment paintings backgrounds, and it's really, at that point, it's not really a background if it's the main focus. It's really the foreground. You ever find random background and try to draw characters on it? No, I never really done that. Seems like something you could do that would be interesting. I've grown to like the music here. See, it grows on people after a while. You get used to it. That's what happens with metal. And then you'll be like, oh, this is what I should have been listening to the whole time. If there's anything that you can learn from me, that's it. That's all you can get. See, that's the other thing that you can learn from me as well, is if you're into metal, but you're only listening to super melodic metal, there's a whole other realm that is a little bit harder to listen to, but it's worth it. It's worth it. You know, you got your Dillinger, you got your Meshuggah, you know? Speaking of Dillinger, let's put on some Dillinger. Like, when you hear this, right? There's no melody there whatsoever. And that's what makes it good. Right, Carly? If there's no melody, that's how you know it's good? Carly shakes her head saying yes. You want tips on how to create values without going to grayscale. So the way I think about it, Your music really contrasts your chill personality. It's because personalities have a range, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm drinking, my personality is this music. When I'm sitting here just doing art, I'm having a really good time, just hanging out, relaxing. So it's up to, you know, it's conditional. Does she like metal? Of course she does. Should do a drunk art live stream. I was gonna do a drink and draw series with Steven. So I think we're still gonna do that once Corona's over. You want to see me drink? Well, a lot of people enjoy it. It's a good time. A lot of people don't enjoy it. All right, let me talk about the. Somebody was talking about doing or starting in color versus grayscale. I think the thing is to keep your mindset in values, even if you're not doing, or even if you're using color. So I'm just thinking about these in values, and then I'm going. My brain is thinking values first. So that would be our first step. Then the second assessment is temperature. So I'm keeping my shadow colors a little bit colder, so they're more on the greens and blues. And then I'm shifting this hue slider over a little bit to the yellows whenever I go to the warms. Obviously, you then have to take into consideration the local value or local color of things. So with that, on this yellows here, like I have this really saturated yellow. Obviously, that's going to be more on the, just in the yellow range than the rest of the scene. But you could also be like, this is getting hit with a green light. So you could shift this hue of the yellow over to the greens a little bit. I didn't really do it just because I like the contrast, but can you make the pick black and white for a second? Yeah, I could do that. Values still come together. Could be a little brighter. So we'll do that. We'll make some of these areas a little bit brighter. Would you recommend practicing with grayscale? Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important to start with grayscale. I could even use going back and doing some grayscale as well. It's one of those things, again, you just go back and forth and just gradually get better. What's the difference between background and an environment? Well, the difference would be with an environment, that's the main focal point of your image. Whereas a background, you're not really going to supply the environment with as much detail. That's really the difference. Most YouTubers just try to paint in silence. I think they're all wrong. I don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. They clearly haven't been listening to enough Dillinger Escape Plan. And if they did, they would realize that, oh, painting in silence is not nearly as exciting. Now, all this hard surface stuff requires a degree of patience because there's so much detail in it. But I think the colors are turning out all right. Value scale seems to work. In anger or otherwise. I'm gonna say, answer that question saying by accident, and then I'm not going to give any context as to how that happened. We'll leave it at that. If a yellow object is getting hit by green light, would it affect the color? Yeah, definitely. There's actually a little software that I got a while back that does, it's like a little color thing, and it'll like model the color for you based on the lighting. It's pretty cool. It's somewhere on Gumroad if you look it up. Just look up like Color Cube or something along those lines. Do I have a playlist of heavy metal? I actually don't. But I could list a couple bands that I like. Dillinger and Meshuggah are my top two. I've been really partial to Code Orange as of late because I like what they're doing. I think they're doing a lot of unique stuff. And it depends, you know, everybody, like, for me, I listened to a lot of melodic stuff for a really long time and then gradually got into heavier and heavier things. It's just like your melodic metal is like your gateway drug. How much time did it take to draw that environment? I actually don't remember. I'm gonna say it probably took a decently long time though. There's no real tips to get better at observing values other than just like just doing grayscale studies. Would you paint a cover for Meshuggah or Dillinger? Sure, if they ask me. Dillinger broke up, so I don't think they'll be asking me anytime soon. But yeah, that would be really cool. I know Eliza Ivanova did something for Tool, which is awesome. And I'm not even a Tool fan, but that's still just a cool opportunity to get as an artist. How's the board game coming along? It's going. I had some standstills this month because I was having trouble with some of the icons and stuff, and there's a lot of cards. A lot of materials to paint. So I'm getting a little caught up on that, but I'll get back to it. Have not listened to Aphex Twin. Also, another thing you can do is once you have it kind of, should merge I'll merge those in a second. Once you have it at this level, you can start to do what I'm doing here, which is using layers and kind of going from there. I don't want to worry about it too much though. It's such a pain in the butt worrying about layers all the time. But for something hard surface, it makes sense. And here you kind of have a decent proof of concept in terms of the painting and colors and whatnot. Nice corridor, thank you. I did not design it, but I did paint it. What's your number one tip for maintaining motivation and good work ethic? That's a hard one. There's so many parts to that, so much psychology to it. I think a lot of procrastination comes from being afraid of doing stuff. Like thinking that whatever it is you're going to do sucks. So if you give yourself like a very clear and obvious task rather than something that's kind of subjective. So here's a good one. If you give yourself the task of, hey, I'm going to paint 3 environments today. It's you know when you do it because you have those paintings. If your goal at the beginning of the day is, hey, I'm going to get better at drawing today or better at painting, it's really, really hard to keep that because at the end of the day, you're going to feel very defeated because you're not going to be able to notice the progress. So if you give yourself kind of clear numerical goals, it's a lot easier to stay motivated. Iteration is going to get you better than trying to make one amazing piece or something like that. And take it step by step. I think a big thing that happens too is a lot of people will bite off more than they can chew way too early. And again, this might just be my philosophy, but notice how late into the development of this YouTube channel it's taken me to start painting. I really made sure that I was not overburdening myself or jumping ahead of things. That might just be me. I like to go slow and steady with stuff. But I think that's something that helps a lot. Do I listen to the Draftsman podcast? From time to time. I don't usually want to listen to art stuff most of the time just because I'm doing art all the time. I don't really need to hear about it anymore. Usually I'll listen to like Tom Segura. Why do you and many artists do mirroring on the painting? It helps you just see mistakes. And Khalil, this is actually a corridor from Doom. But it does remind me of Apex Legends. Whatchamacallit? When did I start painting? Really seriously just started painting this year, but obviously I had been drawing a lot before then. But yeah, this year is really the first year that I'm like kicking the painting thing into high gear. And so I'll see a lot of people devote all their time into painting, and you know that might be to good effect. Like everybody's got to do what works for them. But I've always thought that spending more time drawing is a smarter approach first. And then you gradually phase that in. I mean, I didn't mean I started painting this year, but like I really just started doing it all the time this year. For those that have like been around for a while, they can tell you that I avoided painting for a very long time. And, you know, particularly for that reason, I didn't want to rush myself. Now I'm feeling good about it. I'm feeling like, you know, I'm gradually taking baby steps, you know? First it was perspective, then my gesture sucked, so I worked on that a ton. Finally got that to a point where I'm really happy with it. Now I'm doing painting and design. That's like the two main focuses. You avoid painting more than Corona. There you go. Khalil's been here since the beginning, so he knows. Khalil, I feel like you deserve some sort of award for being here for so long. The corona has messed up your whole life. That's true, but you are in fact still alive, which is good. Hello, be honest. What am I being honest about? You have to give me something to be honest about. You didn't finish your message. Oh, shit. Well, when your message is finished, I'll answer, and I'll be as honest as possible. Ooh, thank you, Alex. Or Alexis, sorry. Thank you, Alexis. Really appreciate that. With the epic thumbs up. Thanks so much. Projects that I'm working on right now is I'm just working on a board game that I'm designing with a friend, and I'm trying to build up my portfolio for Magic: The Gathering. You can't go out and buy snacks, so I can have the snack money. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Plus, I would have missed out on all those old chat battles with Jimmy. Yeah, I really worked on not engaging the trolls. Even though Jimmy's fine though, I've talked to him from time to time. I think he's just misunderstood. And I think I just probably reacted a little too strongly to Jimmy. That happens with people, you know, if you react really strongly on the internet, it seems to just ramp up really quickly for whatever reason. You ever use the strategy of hiding that part in the painting that you feel is bad, then come back to later? Yeah, I definitely jump around a lot. You'll see me jump around all the time. And then there's also an even more dubious strategy, which is hide things in shadow that you don't feel like painting. So that way you don't have to work too hard to paint it. Could you give tips on how to get known in your art career out there? I mean, it's tough. For me, I just was really consistent with putting my work out there. And I kind of knew that my art really wasn't up to par in terms of being professional, so I just kind of decided that I'm going to make a channel dedicated to working on my fundamentals. You know, you got to be honest with yourself to that degree as well, you know? Like, really assess where you're at and just understand that this thing is going to take a long time. Like, just for reference, I look at my artwork and I usually am like, oh wow, I got a ways to go, you know? And I think a lot of artists are in that mindset of, oh man, I have so far to go, or I need to get so much better. And I think in general, if you go into it with that mindset of like, okay, this is just going to be a long time and I just have to keep on pushing, then it's better. And that will keep you growing as an artist, which inevitably, if you get better as an artist, more people will start to see your posts when you post them, because they'll start sharing it and stuff. And then on the other end is, don't be fearful of putting your work out there. It's kind of hard because there's that, you have to strike a balance of spending too much time on social media, putting your work out there and like trying to get reactions versus, actually just doing the work for yourself. Tell great honest truth about embracing where you really are. Yeah, I think that's important because, like it really depends. People are obviously going to be just attracted to good art, and like none of us are good when we start. It's just the nature of this thing, and it's fine. It's just how it is, and you gotta find joy in sucking, which is that's the most important part. If you can find joy in not being that great and just kind of embrace where you're at, because as Steven puts it, my buddy Steven, happiness or being happy, like a lot of people will say, oh, I'll be happy when I get to this level, but it's like happiness is totally internal. So if you can just find a way to enjoy the practice part of it, then it won't be so bad. I know it was that way for me when I played guitar. Like I didn't get too bummed out with myself when I was working on scales and all that sort of thing. Time for being honest. How do you think modern art and all of these abstract, or what do I think about those? I don't respect a thing about it so much if it doesn't have craftsmanship. I don't like it at all. I think it's awful. There's a lot of art and stuff that's awful, or a lot of like, that sort of happens in the music industry to some degree, maybe less so. Like if you put out music that was just garbled noise, like it wouldn't have any radio play or anything like that. So it's to a much smaller degree in music. I I don't get it. I think there's too many conflicting interests in terms of money and stuff for me not to question it. And I've been to a lot of museums where people are just like, oh, well, you don't understand it. And I'm like, I don't think there's anything to understand. I'm also of the mindset, since all of those paintings seem to be accompanied by like a 10-page essay about why it's good, then you should just write an essay and not have to worry about painting or whatever the fuck it is you're doing, you know? My art stream's really chill, thank you. And I don't think that abstract, like there is a use for abstract things and abstraction in art. So I don't mean that that's something that should be ignored. It's more of just, that's not the end of the process, you know? But I've always thought that, you know, there's for any people that are into music or know about music, there's this guy, you know, called John Cage, and he put out this song. There's this one track, it's called 4 minutes and 33 seconds, I think it is. And it's just silence for that amount of time. And they have sheet music, and they, you know, the whole orchestra goes along to it. And it's just like, dude, come on. You know, come on. Don't pull a fast one on us. Just play some fucking music. Don't get so far up your own ass that you have to play silence to us because us as the audience are so stupid we don't understand what music is. There's so much like And the same thing when people are talking about music that's, oh, that song sucks because it only has 4 chords in it or whatever. That's stupid too, right? So much. It's actually really challenging to make a lot out of simplicity. So. Silence is creativity. No, I don't think so. And if it is, it's not you that's the creative one in the whole thing. You know? It's nature itself. Like, you're not some fucking genius because you were the first to be like, oh wow, nature's interesting. Also kind of defeats the point of making music in the first place, which was contrast to to silence and the sounds of nature, right? Have I ever listened to Filthy Frank's music? Yeah, it's really good. Oh, that is a loud sound out there. Yeah, I like his stuff. I think he goes by Joji now, though. Silence can bring on creativity, but it is not inherently creativity. Because no offense to John Cage, if I wanted to just hear silence, I literally would just go outside and listen to the birds or something. I don't need you to tell me that it's cool. Like, I get it. I'm not stupid. Yeah, I do like Joji's music. I think it's good. It's not exactly my style, but I think it's good music. And there's a lot of songs in there that I enjoy. Somebody asked something about the materials, and there's a couple of like consistent material properties in terms of reflectivity and stuff. With metals, you get these sharp highlights. Those are called specular highlights. And so you'll notice I have those sort of sharp highlight shapes. Crickets are loud as fuck. That is true. They can be very loud. Andy Warhol leaves the chat. Yeah, get the fuck out of here with that stuff. It's so annoying. Also, go to one, like... Never mind. Do I do any traditional artworks? Yeah, I sketch every couple days. I should sketch more, actually. I haven't been sketching as much because I've just been going straight to digital painting. And before Corona, we were going to the museum a lot, and me and my girlfriend, and drawing. I could try to elaborate more on the types of highlights. Yeah, when you have a matte surface, so something that's not reflective, the highlight gets diffused through the whole thing. So, so basically you won't have these really crisp shapes of light. So really the way you want to look at it when you're trying to study that is just try to pay attention to what shapes of light and dark are being created. Does listening to metal help understand the metal material? Yes, you have to. It's the only way you're going to figure it out, honestly. Why do specular objects reflect lights they are not supposed to? I don't think that's right. I think they reflect whatever lights are shining at them. I don't know what you mean by that. Digital or traditional art is better. There's whatever one you want to do. They're very different mediums. I think they're both good. I like learning drawing traditionally and then bringing it over to digital. But I don't spend too much time traditionally painting. I have done it. I have them hanging up around my apartment because I think I'm a fancy boy. As far as materials go, look in the How to Render by Scott Robertson. He's got a great little bit about that. The matte surface, though, is generally what you would expect if you were trying to shade something, versus the reflective surfaces. They're going to have the Fresnel effect, which is as it curves away from you, it gets a bit brighter. Yeah, so there's just like a couple rules. So, favorite traditional material. I mean, I like drawing in colored pencil, and I think painting I like oil the best. It's been between oil and gouache, but I think I really enjoyed the oils actually. Seem to come out the best when I painted with those. Fresnel is Fresnell. Doesn't seem like it would be spelled that way, but it is. No, I don't usually work with Copics too often. Do I like South Park? I fucking love South Park. It's pretty much all that's on in my apartment ever. It's pretty much all that's on TV in my apartment. It's 24/7. Let me do this on another layer. Gotta have the Dillinger escape plan. What's new? Am I still teaching? Saw this new sci-fi stuff from you. Total surprise. Or that was a surprise. Yeah, I'm trying to do mostly sci-fi stuff. I'm only teaching on Patreon. I haven't been doing Brainstorm. I left that because I wanted to spend more time just working on my skills and stuff. Yeah, and I'm working on this board game with a friend of mine, which is sci-fi themed, and I've been wanting to really delve into the sci-fi for a long time, but I've been being a scared little boy about it. Where to find my girlfriend's artwork? Well, if she ever shares it, you'll see it, but she's been a scared little girl about sharing her artwork. Oh my god, I finally get to find another or see another stream. You know, if you subscribe on Patreon, you can see them all. Just throwing that out there. Not trying to force anybody to do anything, but just putting it out there. All right, let's look at... Okay, cool. Needs a little bit of texture and grit. The Patreon it's $5 a month for just the live streams, and it's $10 if you want the live streams and the Gumroads. Yeah, the Fresnel effect is going to be confusing, so you gotta just look at it in the Robertson book. It might be a little bit easier. Or you gotta sign up for those group lessons. Although I haven't covered anything related to that in a long time. Yeah, I know artists that only do digital and not traditional. They're more common than you'd think. I think you probably should learn some traditional at some point. But that's just my take. You're down for some group lessons? Well, I got them on Patreon. I might have a brush just for that. Just realized it's live. Yeah, I'm live. Do you think drawing is harder to master than guitar? I think so because I play guitar too, and drawing seems way harder to me. Yeah, I think so. Personally. Wait, let's listen to... Yeah, I think so. Flipping the canvas is so that you can just kind of refreshes your eye. So you can, it just points out mistakes. Do I always start with the mid-gray background? No. Even this one I colored in with blue. It's just sort of the generic background that's there. What job would you take, even if it's corporate? None, because I don't want to do that. I work for myself. It's great. Why do I got to take another job? I like what I do. Any tips for finding inspiration? What do you mean by that? Your brain, just think. Just think about stuff. Do you mean reference or inspiration? Those are two different things. Because if you're looking for a reference, that's a very different thing. That's a little bit more of a challenge. Halo 6. Yeah, I would do that. That seems like it'd be great. I guess I didn't realize that's what you meant by corporate job. I thought you meant just like an office gig. For inspiration, just think of your long-term goals, what you want to be doing. Think about all the cool projects. There's no real tip to it. Just think about what could be if you stick with it. Yeah, you want to pump yourself up. You want to be excited about doing what you're doing. Hey, no problem. Glad you find the art advice helpful. I don't feel like I have very good advice at all, but I appreciate it. Yeah, try to enjoy what you're doing also, you know? Have some fun with the fundamentals, right? Don't just, I don't know, try to have fun with it as much as you can. Because once you get past it, then you can incorporate it without having to think about it as much. No idea to the number of hours question. I get that a lot, but I never really know because I don't measure or really check how many hours I'm going. At least a full work day's worth, so that's the 8 or 9 hours. Anxiety tips. Don't catastrophize art. At the end of the day, you're not gonna be in pain or anything from drawing. It's no physical pain. Just relax. Do some meditations. What else? Stretch. It's always good. Work out a little bit. I don't like that so much, but whatever. I tried. Alright, I'm actually going to get going because I should do what I was supposed to be doing today, which is finishing up video I was working on. So I'm going to get back to that. But thank you guys for coming and hanging out while I'm working on doing some studies. Something about you saying to have a goal when you go into it. Yeah, that is definitely important. Make sure there's a clear goal. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for hanging out. I will catch you all next time, which will hopefully be pretty soon. I'll try to do one in the next couple of days. Maybe even tomorrow. Take care, guys.